Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap. How those assorted tank tops work out for you?
Mr. Yakamoto.
All right, welcome back to Techsperts on TECH. That was just a cut from the Minority Report, looking at facial recognition and its possible future. Now, of course, that's a creepy future, but let's talk about real life here, of course. So joining me on the stage are two experts on facial recognition. That's Leslie Lazieux, and she's from Comatech. She's our tech expert on Techsperts. Of course, we always need one of those. And also joining me is Bobby Bush from the Office of the Privacy Commissioner. So let's start with you, Leslie. What is facial recognition, rather? Tell the viewers at home, and how has it been used thus far?
Sure, so a facial recognition system is a computer application that automatically identifies and verifies a person through photographs or video footage. It is typically used in security systems and can be compared to other biometrics such as fingerprints or iris recognition. A couple examples include the 2001 Super Bowl, also known as the Snooper Bowl, where each spectator had their image tested against a database of known criminals for security purposes. Also, there is Australian SmartGate, where in Australian airports, flyers that land from international flights can bypass part of the customs process by allowing their passport photo to be tested against facial recognition software to verify their identity.
All right, but let's talk about the privacy implications of that. Can you explain, Bobby, about the privacy elements here with facial recognition?
Of course, Monsieur Visage. An important element that we at the Office of the Privacy Commissioner feel is an important feature to our privacy is consent. We feel strongly that controlling one's image and their information requires strict protection in order to protect us against unwanted search. We can understand consent by identifying two categories, explicit and implied consent. Explicit consent is when a person gives permission that their image would be used. For example, allowing an airport to use facial recognition software to verify your identity. The biggest privacy concern is determining whether someone gave implied consent or not. Implied consent means that a person does not necessarily give consent, but that it would be inferred using the person's actions and the circumstances of the situation. Video surveillance has been widely adopted in society, and when entering a public place or commercial establishment, we understand that we may be filmed. However, facial recognition has not been widely accepted enough to believe that implied consent was given.
Well, I know one thing's for sure, explicit consent was given for you two here being on the show. Now, let's talk about the future of facial recognition, and what do you think the future of this technology is going to be?
Right, so government and police have already used facial recognition in their work to successfully catch criminals. In the future, creating a national database of people's images could be one way that we continue to use facial recognition for security purposes. When the government and police are the ones implementing such techniques, there are clear regulations on how they would be able to use and collect this information by building on already established privacy legislation. Also, there's been a lot of research into how facial recognition could be used for marketing. Many facial recognition applications of the future can be aimed at creating profiles of people in order to target someone for advertisements. The software would be able to know when you are in a commercial establishment in order for sales representatives to make suggestions based on past purchases, other interests, and current promotions.
So in other words, just like the Minority Report.
Exactly.
However, we cannot ignore the privacy implications that arise from the commercial use of the software. The issue with this is the use of people's social networking profiles in order to gather this information, and how businesses could buy, sell, and share your image or profile with other businesses. If we think back to the idea of consent and privacy, this creates huge issues regarding exactly what the public is consenting to.
All right, so what should we redefine, really, our understanding of consent, though?
I think the current way we define consent is sufficient, but definitely will need to be improved to reflect changes in technology, and also how society views their privacy. To elaborate, the widespread use of facial recognition for marketing purpose would cause an increase in privacy claims. This would mean that the definition of consent will likely be decided on by the courts based on their interpretation of new technologies.
All right, we're running really low on time, so that's it. We'll be right back, and we're going to get to our studio audience after the break.